Hello Year 11, my name is Miss Brown and welcome to your 11th and final video on the Christian beliefs section of your revision videos. Today we're going to be looking at the problem of evil and suffering, and as always we'll focus in on a few key beliefs and teachings to help you tackle some of those questions that could come up in your exam. So we have two key terms here when we're looking at the problem of evil and suffering: evil and suffering. So first of all, we'll start with evil. The definition of this is the opposite of good, a cause of suffering and something that goes against the will of God. Suffering, on the other hand, is an effect of evil. It's the pain or hardship that happens as a consequence of evil. So when we're looking at two Christian beliefs here, we're very much thinking about how would a Christian continue to defend the omnibenevolence of God despite the existence of evil and suffering in the world. How can they justify suffering if God is meant to be powerful and loving? So, two beliefs then. First of all, many Christians will believe that suffering is a result of human free will, not the fault of God. Free will is seen by many Christians to be a gift from God, and that it's up to them to be able to use that to choose to turn towards God rather than away from Him. Therefore, any suffering that results as a misuse of free will lays with the responsibility of the human and not with God. Secondly, suffering is often also seen as a test of faith from God. Christians might draw upon stories like the story of Job, for example, where Job experiences a series of events in his life that cause him immense suffering as part of a test to see if his faith wavers in God. So how do these things influence Christians? Well, first of all, if you believe that free will is a gift from God, then that would be a sign of God's omnibenevolence, and also would then influence Christians to use that gift for the best way that they can. In other words, using their free will to do things and choose actions that God would want them to do to please God. Secondly, if suffering is a test of faith, it might give them some kind of comfort or trust in God to know that there is a reason for this suffering, there's a reason for this hardship, even if it doesn't make sense to them at the time, and to trust that there will be an overall benefit to this in the end. For example, it might help them grow towards God, or they might develop certain character traits by going through this tough time. A quote you can use to support this, this one links to the first point, the one about free will, and this is directly from Genesis, where God says you're free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So here we know from the story that Adam and Eve do eat that fruit, thus bringing suffering into the world. Therefore, the fault of the existence of suffering for many Christians lies with humans and not with God. If this came up in your exam, it could look like this. Explain two ways in which the problem of evil and suffering influences Christians today. Pop a 4-minute timer on, have a go at this, and then we'll take a look at a model answer. Here are some things you could have said in response to this question. Belief in evil and suffering influences Christians to use their free will in a way which pleases God. This is because free will is seen as a gift and an opportunity to turn towards God. Christians could also trust in God when they are suffering because they believe suffering is a test of faith and that they can grow and develop from the challenges they face. So here you have two clear influences highlighted in yellow and an explanation for each one just to develop them further. You may not have got exactly the same as these 2 points, but have a look in your answer. Have you got two clear influences on how this belief will impact a Christian, what it will make them do, think, believe, and have you expanded those with an explanation? So here is almost the only question that could come up as a 6 marker for this particular topic. Explain two Christian teachings about the problem of evil and suffering. So what I'm going to do is show you a model answer where I give you two Christian teachings. What I'd like you to do after that is to pause the video and have a go at doing one yourself, but giving two different Christian teachings. This will help deepen your knowledge, help build a solid foundation, for example, for 12-mark questions, and also give you a chance to have a go at that 6-mark question structure. So let's take a look at my answer. Some Christians believe that suffering exists because of the human misuse of free will. In the Bible, it says you are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. But Adam and Eve ate the fruit and disobeyed God, allowing suffering to enter the world. Other Christians believe that suffering is a test of faith, and this is because through their suffering, they can grow towards God and build a closer relationship. So we've got 2 points here, that suffering exists because of human misuse of free will. And for some Christians, we can trace that back to original sin, like we talked about in one of our previous videos. And secondly, that it can be seen as a test of faith, something that can enable Christians to grow closer, stronger, learn lessons. We've got a quote there, and as always, we've referenced it from the Bible, and then we've explained and applied what that quote means. This will allow you to get 6 out of 6. So as I said before, pause the video, have a go at this question yourself. Can you come up with some different Christian teachings on the problem of evil and suffering? And this will finish our Christian beliefs revision video. So well done for completing all of those and trying all of those questions. Make sure you have a look at the Christian practices videos as well. Good luck.